Welcome all of you. Good afternoon. I'm really delighted to continue this 3-day training on TKT core modules. Yeah, those of you who have already attended, and you know something about all 3 modules and module 1 because you were present yesterday, could you type in pluses in the chat box? Let me see how many of experienced people we've got today. Thank you very much. There are some. Yeah. Okay. And those of you who have come only for this session, well, due to, I don't know, there might be different reasons and you just found time for this model in particular, could you please say something like, oh, let's type number 2. Yeah. Could you please use 2 and add that to the chat box? So that I can see this is your first session, yeah, on module 2. Okay, yeah. So we have some newcomers, which is wonderful, yeah. Again, thank you all for joining me today. And those of you who are continuing, yeah, try to support those who have just started, exploring, and we'll try to help them understand, yeah, to get to grips with the areas that are being assessed in TKT different modules. All right, I am sure you'll have fun today. You'll find out something interesting, something important, something new, right? And we'll revise a couple of things. So, yesterday there was something wrong with one of the slides, the introductory slides. I decided to fix it for this session. Can I ask you to introduce yourselves? Mentioning where you work, yeah, what you do there. Are you just a teacher? Or you have some wider responsibilities, maybe an assistant director of studies or something else, yeah. What your teaching context is. Yeah, there is a tutor here, I can see, yeah, many different colleagues. Hello everyone. So whether you work with general English, yeah, or exam preparation courses. Daria Novikova, I think I know you, that's great. Yeah, okay, some private tutors, awesome. Okay, right, okay, so we have some of you who are really experienced, yeah, and you're not just a teacher, but you also help others, yeah. Maybe you monitor, yeah, and you are in charge of some trainings. Okay. Let me tell you a couple of words about myself. So those of you who don't know me, I'm a teacher trainer and I work mainly for International House. I run a variety of programs from Cambridge English, CELTA, Delta, TKT, obviously, yeah, and some of International House courses, qualification that you can take in between CELTA and Delta, for example, yeah, or beyond TKT, something like that. Right, so things like if you're interested in teaching young learners, we have a course, yeah. You can earn a diploma, a certificate, how to teach younger learners. It is moderated by the University of Cambridge, and the certificate has an age icon too, yeah, shield. So those are very interesting courses and very practical hands-on experience. If you want to specialize in something, yeah, there are some other courses that we deliver in our teacher training center. And I also run a variety of private trainings. At the moment, I'm running Delta Model 1 preparation. So if you're interested, yeah, get in touch. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start considering the topic of this webinar. Well, first of all, the first session was a kind of overview of all 3 modules, yeah, and of course we focused on the first module and talked about the most important key aspects, I don't know, how to describe their language, because we are talking about English, yeah, here. what language learning is like, the differences between learning and acquisition, yeah. And also we've talked about different teaching aspects, yeah, mostly related to different methodologies, approaches, because that's how teachers can start improving, yeah, by working on their, professional development, by working on their better, deeper understanding of different principles, yeah, some basic principles, yeah, but still very important. And I also mentioned, of course, Cambridge Assessment English qualifications in general. I have already said today that I'm running CELTA courses, for example, and Delta Model 1 preparation courses, and they all belong to Cambridge English. And why people choose Cambridge English is something obvious. So it's basically about giving teachers an opportunity to develop professionally, to find the right track, to become aware of methodology, to become up to date, yeah, with their recent approaches, and probably demonstrate some of the things from your teaching practice, yeah, so you can find the right qualification for you. Remember, we've talked about framework for professional development, and there is a whole range of areas you can work on, depending on your needs, depending on your level of proficiency, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so can I ask you to type in only the comments related to the session and the topic? I can see a lot of information which we don't want to see there. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's talk about TKT. Let's focus on that. Yeah. So perhaps I would not advise you to take the test just on a whim. Yeah, you need to consider the impact of taking the test on your teaching, on your practice, yeah, and also to contemplate, yeah, what you can do, which track to choose. So we can say that TKT consists of 5 modules, yeah, and yeah, you can see here on the slide all the variety of models that are available at the moment. So the core models is our priority, and if you are interested in the specialist models, I think you can refer to the webinars that we've delivered on Monday and Wednesday. The recordings will be available, yeah. I think Julia can share with you the link, yeah, to that, but yeah, so you'll be able to find those. Now, the core models, yeah, they give us the basis, yeah, the foundation on the principles of teaching and learning. And if you get the certificate, or let's say if you take the test, yeah, you'll be assessed on a 4-band scale. You can earn either 1, yeah, if you have just limited knowledge and you demonstrate some understanding of the principles of teaching. You do know what language is like, yeah, there is some knowledge there, but it's just limited or basic, yeah, and the more you know, the higher the band is going to be. So it's very safe to take, yeah, now you can see the links to the videos, yeah. So it's really easy to take the test, yeah, it's not scary at all. You register by going to the Cambridge website, yeah, find in the center the date that is suitable for you. You take the test and hopefully you will earn a certificate with a good band that can demonstrate your deep understanding of the principles of teaching, right? Yeah, this is basically the website that I've just mentioned. I've forgotten that I've got this slide. So here it is. You go there, yeah, you click on TKT, and you find a lot of information, including the information about the exam centers, and you click on search for an exam center, type in your city, and you'll be able to find quite a lot of centers there. Well, if we are talking about Moscow, there are quite a few. Yeah, and our center in BKC, for example, is quite well recognized. I also mentioned some resources, and for those who just come, yeah, who's joined us, perhaps it's very important to know that there are some free materials available online, yeah, that are very helpful. You first of all, you need the handbook to understand the task types, the requirements, and all the information, all the basic information about this qualification. Secondly, you may consider looking through the terms in the glossary. Yeah, I have already mentioned that the glossary is alphabetic. It's very easy to find the term that you need to brush up on. Yeah, and you can always refer to the glossary whenever you see a term, a tricky thing, yeah, or you just want to revise the area of some kind, right? So whatever you come up with, go there, check it, make sure you understand the term. And the most important, or one of the most important things, is to be aware of task types and to try it out, yeah, to give it a go. So if you're ready, yeah, do it right away. Start doing TKT related tasks. I'll show you a few tasks today. So there will be an element of testing you, yeah, but I won't be giving you much feedback, yeah. You will be comparing your ideas, your answers to the recommended answers only. So it's not stressful. But yeah, online there are a few samples available, and perhaps the more you get, the better. Of course, you'll be prepared. Okay. Okay, yeah, there is something else you may consider. Yeah, in the previous session, a couple of participants asked me a question about the resources and whether it's a must to read a book, for example, of some kind to prepare for TKT. And I have already mentioned that no, it's not necessary, but it might be really useful. And if you consider TKT as your professional development activity, then perhaps it's worth doing it properly, yeah? Getting a kind of buzz, yeah, from that, yeah, enjoying the process. This is a lot more beneficial than just, you know, taking the test for the sake of getting the certificate, right? The proper way of doing that, of preparing for the course, will be perhaps to refer to the handbook first of all, so that you can see whether you need this model or another one. And then when you understand that, yes, for example, Module 2 is your priority because you want to focus on lesson planning and understand the principles of lesson planning a little bit better, or confirm that you are well aware of those, yeah, you can use the TKT course book, yeah, which is published by the Cambridge University Press, and find the chapters on, for example, lesson planning and other aspects tested, yeah, in Module 2. But obviously the course book is designed to help you prepare for all 3 modules. Yeah, there are 3 chapters. Well, they're not chapters, but sections there. And there are many different chapters with different type of inputs. Most of all, they are inputs on terminology, but that's what you have to demonstrate, your understanding of terms. And some of the sample tasks that are really useful, and some of the activities that are very useful for professional development. Okay, now, okay. Right, those of you who find that not sufficient, and I assume that many of you, yeah, who prefers a more sophisticated approach, those who prefer to delve into the topic, yeah, perhaps you need more literature, more useful resources. So I recommend books by Jeremy Harmer, and this one in particular, because it will give you an overview of different topics that are relevant for TKT preparation. But yeah, the list is endless. Another book that I often recommend for TKT and CELTA trainees is Jim Scribner's book, Learning Teaching. And remember, yeah, in the first session on Module 1, I gave a list of different books on methodology and also some books on or about language. Yeah, those are useful resources. And again, the list is endless. You can start with something basic, just reading the handbook and other free materials. But then probably you'll feel the need to know more, yeah, or to practice a little bit more, and then you'll be using some other useful sources. Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. Now, today, yeah, our priority is TKT Module 2, but obviously all the models are connected. And in the first session, we've talked about some principles of language learning and teaching. Do you think that the principles of learning and teaching can affect the way we plan our lessons and then run them? Type in pluses if you think it makes sense. Thank you. Yeah. Well, obviously, there is an overlap in between all the models and the areas, and you will see some similarities in the questions sometimes, yeah. And that's why when we run preparatory courses, yeah, we show tasks from different models because they refer to a particular topic and they're connected somehow, yeah. But there are different ways, yeah. If you are planning to take all three models at the same time, this is the best approach, perhaps. If you are planning to take only one model or one by one, then probably you'll be delving into that particular topic, yeah. I'm not planning to entice you to take the test, yeah, any of them. I'm just giving you different options, yeah, and show you different ways how you can find out as much as possible about all the models. All right. So the first model is the basis, yeah. All the theories were there. Now we are moving to something more practical, but we'll be keeping in mind the principles that we have already brushed up on, yeah. So there is lesson planning here, yeah, and using different resources. Do you think they're only course books? Type in pluses or minuses. What do you think? Only course books, plus, yeah, something else, minus? Yeah, right. Awesome, awesome, yeah. And you know, some of the books like by Harmer and Scribner can be regarded as useful resources for teachers. So it was quite a relevant slide in this respect, yeah. Okay, right. So those of you who are experienced participants of this series of webinars on TKT3 models, perhaps you can anticipate some of the things that we're going to be talking about, right? So how many of these questions you can answer? So what are the sections in Module 2? What do you think they focus on? Yeah, how many do we have? How many areas? Yeah, how long the test might be? Yeah, how many questions? I can see some numbers that I really like, yeah. And some of you are saying 6, probably you can answer all of the questions, yeah. So there is a lot of consistency in how TKT models are designed, yeah. All of them consist of 80 questions, yeah, and all of them are the same length, yeah. They will last 80 minutes. So basically what you need to do is to read the question and come up with the answer right away, like, yeah, on the spot, thinking on your feet, without contemplating much, just you know, this answer. It's quite straightforward, if not mechanical, right? And then everything will fall into place, yeah, and you'll be getting a very high band there as a result, as an outcome. So, yeah, so I've just, yes, there is no true-false task, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, someone has mentioned that or what? Yeah, there will be multiple choice, good. Yeah. Matching, very good. And remember one tricky task, which I've mentioned, odd one out. Yeah, thank you, Alexandra. So odd one out might be in both matching and multiple choice when there is not set in the rubric, which is very important to spot. Yeah, if you don't identify the task type, you'll be giving incorrect answers, unfortunately. Right, so the task types are the same. The resources that you can use are basically the same, and so that's why I showed you the same slide with all the free materials. And yeah, not, yeah, something like that, yeah. Yeah, the free materials and the course books I've mentioned. You will have to transfer your answers to the answer sheets. Otherwise, yeah, they won't be counted. And the areas we'll be talking about in a moment. Yeah, let's have a look. Yes, during the exam, when you sit the test, yeah, you won't be able to use any reference materials, of course, Ludmila. Yeah. This is a test of your knowledge, yeah? Teaching knowledge test. You will have to demonstrate what you're aware of. Right, so this is the summary of the answers. Again, you can see that the test will last 1 hour and 20 minutes, yeah, which makes it 80 minutes. There are 80 questions and you'll be given like about 1 minute to answer each of the questions. And of course you can earn 80 points, yeah, because if you answer all of the questions accurately, you'll achieve that, the best result, yeah. You don't have to be perfect, yeah, to achieve band 4, yeah, and there will be like 85% perhaps of the answers that are correct, yeah, and above. If the result is of this kind, then you'll get band 4. You can see that the model covers the area related to lesson planning. So let's have a look what it is like. So first, I wanted you to make a sentence about your attitude to planning. I know some people find it daunting, some people don't do it at all, they think it's a waste of time, some people just follow course book materials and they feel it's not necessary. But some people, you know, they just, I don't know, they think it's a kind of short-sightedness if you don't plan, you don't consider your learners' needs, yeah, and they try to give as many different types of materials to their students to motivate them. Yeah, you can, yeah, Natalia, thank you. You can anticipate difficulties, yeah, and the lesson might be more effective. Yeah, very good. Okay, any other ideas to finish this sentence? Planning can help a teacher see results. Oh, nice, I like it, Anastasia. Follow the structure, be consistent. Yeah, it can save time. Oh, interesting. I think it can save time and the lesson might be more efficient. Yeah, you won't be wasting your time during the lesson and there will be a high degree of flexibility. Yeah, you'll be able to make spontaneous decisions because you have already anticipated how everything might work or it might not work. Yeah, and you know what to do in different situations. Yeah. See the progress, I like it. Yeah, improve next lessons. Oh, nice. Receive feedback. I'm not quite sure how planning can help you receive feedback, but yeah, perhaps it makes sense. You just need to make it explicit. Planning. Oh, yes. It is likely to be better organized, of course, with thorough planning. Yeah. Logical sequence of lessons. Yeah. Gain experience, I'm not sure about that. Achieve a goal, yeah. Be realistic, oh, nice, yeah. So if you consider timing, yeah, or your students' strengths and some areas they usually struggle with, yeah, perhaps you'll be more realistic there. Okay, develop smart objectives. Oh, great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can keep in mind different principles, including SMART objectives. Yeah. yeah, today we'll be covering the topic of aims and the differences between aims and objectives. Perhaps you do know that, yeah, but I'll just help you revise some of the things. Yeah, to meet the time restrictions, yeah, requirements, to achieve a goal, yeah. Okay, yeah, great ideas, wow. Thank you for your active participation. Now, I usually use in any lesson planning slot, and those of you who know me, forgive me, I might have used the same quotes on one of my sessions. Anyway, so I use the quotes about lesson planning collected from different teachers. They show how different teachers see the importance of lesson planning. For example, yeah, the one that I really like, planning can help a teacher produce a stimulating lesson. Yeah, this one, yeah, I really like it. Whatever the lesson is, yeah, it's not only about just being creative, yeah, but also considering what your students find appealing, yeah, and changing some of the things, you know, playing with different materials, different types of tools that you can use to meet their needs. Some teachers feel that they feel a lot more relaxed, if you want, yeah, and planning reduces, yeah, the amount of stress. So I think it is also true. I don't know if you feel any kind of anxiety, especially if you need to start teaching a new class. Like before this webinar, yeah, I felt something like that because I never know who's going to attend a session of this kind, yeah. So I really feel nervous. I don't know if this material is suitable for you, but with your ordinary classes, you know, regular classes, I think it's easier to do, yeah? And probably you are less anxious when you know that you need to give a lesson to your old students. Another thing, another thing I really like is this black one, yeah? So we teach the people, yeah? This is a very important component, yeah, that we need to keep in mind somehow. It's all about needs analysis. It's about understanding your students' goals, yeah, motivation, needs, requirements, expectations, you know, things like that. So we've talked about that in the previous session, and I think it can affect our lesson planning a lot. Another thing that I can find curious, yeah, or I am curious about, is whether planning depends on our familiarity with the subject, and our subject is obviously English. So do you think that planning my lesson with experience, do you think we spend less time, do we spend less time on lesson planning the more experienced we become? Type in pluses if you think so. Is it still time consuming, or it is less time consuming for experienced teachers? It might be less, yeah? It depends. I like that, yeah. Okay, it is, yeah. Yeah. Okay, not at all. Oh, nice. I like that too. And you know what? Yeah, I totally agree. Just because you are getting more experienced, yeah, exactly. You can go and teach unplugged, yeah, which is material light lessons, trying to meet your students' needs, thinking on your feet all the time, and this is challenging. And to do that successfully, you need to plan, you need to be well prepared, yeah, what to do in this situation or another situation, yeah. I usually show a perfect dogma lesson plan, which is a mess, yeah, like we can do this or that, or if this happens, we'll do that, and so on, all the different directions considered, yeah. It's a very sophisticated tool, and it's quite hard to create. So I think the more experienced you are, the more ways you can see, and it's harder for you to choose sometimes what is really necessary at this stage of the course, stage of your students' development, and so on. Yeah, but yeah, some of the things become easier, of course. You do know a variety of course books, the principles that they're based on, yeah, and it's easier for you to open a page from a new source and start teaching, you know, not from scratch, of course, by looking at the course book materials, but still you understand what they're aiming at, yeah? Right, okay. I also like considering different metaphors to add creativity to my lessons, so that I can see that a lesson is not only a sequence of stages to achieve a kind of linguistic aim, but I can also see that there is an element of a game, so that students can enjoy that experience. Yeah. If you think about a conversation, yeah, what makes a good conversation? Yeah, can you run your lesson so that the conversation is really smooth, natural, and the students find it really interesting? They want to continue. They don't want to stop that. Yeah. Are your students talkative? Yeah. How you can guide them so that they achieve the best results, yeah, become better at speaking, for example. So you can consider that. Also, I like this metaphor, yeah. The idea of metaphors come from Penny Ear's book that I mentioned in the first session. And here I'm sharing my favorite metaphors. For example, a menu. Yeah, a lesson is like a set of options, and you can choose the one that you find the most appealing at this stage, for this moment. So you can make spontaneous decisions. Yeah, as for a wedding, it's quite an interesting metaphor. It's about, you know, different procedures that we keep in mind. And the wedding is a quite, it's a ceremony, right? And many people play different roles in a wedding, yeah? You perform certain functions and you know what the procedure is like. Now, for your students, do you think it's beneficial to be aware of what's going on and how it's going to happen, right? So you can consider those aspects too. Right, do you like using metaphors? Thank you. Yeah, exactly, Alexandra. I totally agree. Yeah, thank you for supporting this idea. Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, it's not like black and white. Yeah, we don't just follow different procedures of lesson frameworks. Yeah, we consider different aspects, yeah, and attitudes. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Let's summarize what we've talked about. What does lesson planning entail? So I want you to use the chat box, type in what you figure out from the conversation we've just had. Yeah, well, from my talk mainly, but you contributed. So what are the aspects we need to keep in mind? Okay. So you can see the question at the top of the slide. Could you please type in your ideas? Outcomes, time, very good. Aims, perfect, great ideas. Yes, identifying the aims perhaps is the most important thing. Yeah, level, age. Okay, so if you do it, yes, Daria, it might, alleviate stress. Very good. Achieve our goals. Oh, interesting. Do you mean personal aims? That's a great idea. Yes, you can choose tasks that are appropriate, or you can adjust the tasks that are available, let's say. Very good. Yeah, different things related to the class, of course, yeah. What your teaching context is, yeah. You keep that in mind. Without that, you can't plan a proper lesson. Staging, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and different characteristics of your learners, yeah, those are very important. Well, I'm going to highlight quite a few other things, yeah. So first of all, First of all, lesson frameworks. Yeah, so you mentioned staging, and staging will depend on the main aim of the lesson. Yeah, key function, why we are running this lesson, what's the main purpose. By setting appropriate lesson aims, actually, you are achieving already a lot. Yeah, and you sort of clear it up in your head, yeah, what you need to do, how you can achieve it. You start thinking about that. We need to keep in mind different lesson plan components, right? And perhaps we need to order activities, yeah, in a logical way. For example, we often shift from receptive to productive skills, yeah, or from controlled to less controlled, freer practice, you know, those kind of things. We can use texts as a source of information, but also as a linguistic object and a springboard for discussions. And again, the logical progression is how we can make use of texts. Yeah, what materials we need to select, whether they're going to come from the course book, yeah, and we'll be following the course book blindly, or you'll be choosing some materials from the internet using some authentic sources, yeah, even for low-level students. Yeah, a kind of coherence, absolutely right, Ekaterina, yes, definitely. Yeah, many different supplementary materials, yeah, photocopiables, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and also keeping in mind our learners, we can plan how to group them, yeah, what kind of partnerships can work, and which of the students might not work well together, yeah, for a particular activity, for example, or topic. And of course, assessment. We keep in mind different assessment tools, yeah, the tasks that we can use to collect information about the success of the lesson. Right, so let's briefly consider the key functions of a lesson. Yeah, a lesson is a goal-oriented effort. Yeah, we want to ensure that the lesson aims or objectives are achieved. Yeah. Hopefully, we give a lot of opportunities for our students for cooperative interaction. They collaborate, they're cognitively involved in various tasks, and yeah, they're active learners. We want to ensure positive classroom dynamics, yeah, and we want to build rapport with our students. A lesson is a series of different choices. We need to ensure variety in activities, techniques. Yeah, we've talked about presentation techniques, yeah, in the first session. That will be still relevant when we plan our lessons. Yeah, like for example, in the previous lesson, we used test, teach, test. Yeah, today, you don't want to do the same thing. Yeah, you'll be changing that and using, I don't know, TBL, or even a situational presentation, just to add variety, to help you identify what your students find more appealing, more effective, yeah, and they learn better. It's a role-based culture. When the students know what to do and how to do, if the instructions are clear, obviously the lessons are going to be more successful. Yeah, and those elements of ceremony, yeah, can help you identify how to give instructions, sequence them in a logical way, not overloading students, not giving too much information, but just sufficient information so that they know what they need to do at different stages. Right, so here you can see lesson plan components. Now, which of the things you do? So do you plan your lessons, first of all? Do you write a kind of procedure, maybe briefly, on a piece of paper? Or you take notes in a course book? So I think the procedure is something that we are likely to keep in mind, to be honest. What else do you keep in mind from the aspect I'm highlighting here? So I've heard timing from you. I think it'll be relevant. Do you plan interaction patterns, for example? Okay, if you keep in mind all of these things, could you, yeah, type in pluses, that'll be great, yeah? The aims, of course, is something that we start with, yeah. awesome. Very good, very good. Okay, I don't know what the question mark means. Perhaps you don't know what the components mean, yeah? Yeah, yeah, what to do. Yeah, okay, what to do at the beginning, what to do then. That is a very good strategy, actually, because, you know, we usually concentrate on how we run the most important stage of the lesson, like grammar presentation, for example, yeah, something of this kind. And then we forget how to introduce the topic, or we neglect, you know, different ways how to wrap it up in a logical and fun way so the students feel a sense of achievement. Yeah, exactly. Equipment, absolutely right. So different online tools, that's very relevant for today. But also the equipment that you can use in the classroom if you are teaching in a physical classroom. Things like, I don't know, a CD player if you're still using CDs, I don't know, or just a computer, a desktop computer, or your laptop, maybe an overhead projector. Yeah, yeah, other things. Great. Yeah, awesome. Material. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, right. Okay, so I think all of these components are very important, to be honest. And I would recommend probably, yeah, creating a procedure, keeping in mind your lesson aims, yeah, but then refer to your class profile. Probably you've taken some notes about your students, you know their strengths and weaknesses, their preferences, yeah, and so on, and see whether that lesson makes sense, yeah, and if not, what changes you can make to improve it. And then you can make certain assumptions that this student might not be interested in this topic, or that students might find this task really boring, or something of that kind, yeah, depending on their attitude, of course, yeah. And again, you can make some changes, adding a degree of flexibility to your procedure, like, if not, we can do this, yeah. Yeah. As for the language analysis, do you often do research before you run your lessons? Do you see what the language point is like, what you need to consider, how you can convey meaning, or which aspects related to form, phonology, usage, yeah, you need to keep in mind, yeah? I think I find this the most beneficial for me in terms of professional development, yeah, because I work mainly with high-level students, and I find it awesome, yeah, when doing this research is something fascinating. It really gives me a buzz, yeah, when I find a new term or collocation. Oh, really? We can do that, yeah. We can still develop, of course, and it's ongoing. It will never end. Yeah, great. Okay, right. Now, could you please look at this slide again and type in pluses if you understand the benefits of all these components? Okay, great, great. Yeah. So we keep in mind those. Okay, now let's look at some statements. And there will be a problem with a couple of statements as far as I remember. Assumption, yeah. An assumption is something that you consider that may help you in the lesson. For example, you assume your students like talking about traveling. Yeah, and this will help you in the lesson. You can make use of that. Yeah, it might be connected to timetable feed, but not necessarily, because a timetable feed is the information about how the lessons are connected. Yeah, what happened at the beginning of the course, what you did earlier, and what you're going to do, how you'll be exploring this topic later on. This is a kind of, it ensures a clear progression from lesson to lesson. It will help you achieve better results with that consistency. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Yeah. Okay. So have a look at the statements, keeping in mind lesson plan components. Let's identify which of the statements are false. Have a read and let me know in the chat box. Yes, yeah, okay. Yeah, A is about lesson aims for sure, yeah. We are not matching, we are identifying the false statement, yeah. Okay, okay, yeah. Great ideas, yeah, I agree. I do agree, yeah. So, yeah, you have already mentioned that A is about aims, yeah, and without your clear understanding what you want to achieve, you can't run a good lesson. Yeah, making notes on what the learners know or can do, what's that about? Who can tell me what B is about? Yes, H is timing, absolutely right. Yes, B is assumptions. Yeah, something that you've asked me about. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I totally agree that there is something wrong with C. Yeah, teaching from, yeah, by following the course book blindly is not an option for us. Yeah, teachers who are interested in professional development, of course not. Perhaps we'll be able to change that, yeah, in a moment. What is D about? What lesson plan components we keep in mind? Language, yeah, absolutely. Language analysis, yeah, language awareness, if you want, yeah, you can develop that by preparing for your lesson thoroughly. But also, of course, you can plan some techniques how you can deliver that and clarify all aspects of that language item. Yeah, for example, if you teach vocabulary, yeah, you can consider conveying meaning, and you can use a visual aid if it is something straightforward, or you can set a situation so that students understand what you're talking about, yeah. And then you can ask some CCQs so that people will understand to clarify meaning, or give a definition for a new term. And then, of course, you would ask your students to repeat the new word after you, which is a focus on pronunciation. Yeah, and hopefully they will see the spelling, the written form of the word, yeah, afterwards. And it is quite important for them to be exposed to the form orally first, yeah, to the word orally, and yeah, repeat it. So we focus on spoken discourse, and yeah, receptive first again, then productive, yeah, and also first written language, oh sorry, first spoken language and then written. I got confused myself. Right, now E, getting tasks in a logical order is really important. What's that about? Help me please. This is the procedure. Yeah, philosophical, yeah, true. Yeah, you know, sometimes, yeah, I have my senior moments. Yeah, true. Okay. There is nothing you can do about, yeah, sorry, E, getting task in a logical order is procedure or staging. How about F? There is nothing you can do about things going wrong in the lesson. What might this cover? And you mentioned that there is a false, yeah, it is a false statement, yeah, because you don't anticipate the problems, right? Exactly, yeah. And G, what G is about? Working alone, in pairs, or in groups. What's that about? Interaction patterns, yeah. This is something that is easy perhaps after taking CELTA course, just because we train our trainees to work a variety of interaction patterns. But yeah, perhaps it's something straightforward for all of you anyway. How about age? Estimating how, yeah, you mentioned it is timing, yeah. Okay, so let's move on. I totally agree with your opinions, yeah, that C and F are false. Let's try to correct them. Now, what's wrong about C? Could you type in how you would improve it? Okay, Firuz, well done. It's good that you can answer all of the questions. Yeah. Warm up. Yes, very good, Natalia. So we keep in mind a kind of lead-in or warm-up activity, to prepare our students for a certain activity or task. And sometimes it's not in the course book. So we need to evaluate course book materials. You can add some supplementary sources. Do some revision. Very good, very good. Great ideas. I think it's more about material evaluation, whether you need to change them or you can follow them. So you just, you never assume everything is perfect there in the course book, right? And also you keep in mind timetable feed, your students' needs, and maybe you know that you need to do something else apart from those things that are very good in the course book, but they're not about your learners, right? How about F? How can we improve F? There is nothing you can do. Whatever happens wrong, this is it. Oops. That's the attitude. Yes, be flexible. Back up. Very good. Very good. Okay, amazing. Yes, you can actually, do everything. There is no such a thing as something impossible, for a teacher. Very good. Okay, so here I've got the corrected versions of the same statements. Evaluating your materials critically perhaps can help you find the right supplementary materials, or maybe you'll be creating something from scratch if you're good enough at that and you like this process. Games, definitely. Right, okay, let's move on. Let's focus on A, which is lesson aims, right? So there are different types of aims we can identify and set. So what type of aims can we think of? Use the chat box, help me here. Skills, okay, you are mentioning a very interesting point, that there might be different types of lessons, and we keep in mind those, I'll be talking about that in a moment. Personal aims, well done, yes. Developing skills again, we are talking about them. Personal and main aims, very good, you can see there are 4 bubbles right here, so we need more. Personal aims, teachers' aims, Subordinate or subsidiary, we'll usually call them, sub-aims. Short-term and long-term, fantastic. Of course, we can set short-term goals for just this lesson, for a series of lessons, and longer term goals for the whole course, what our students will have achieved by the end of the course. Very good. Academic, interesting. Okay, great. So let me just highlight what I think about aims and what TKT handbook recommends keeping in mind. Lesson aims can be several, the most important for us is to identify the main lesson aim, They might be one, They might be a couple of main aims, and they depend on what type of lesson you're running, whether it is lessons on skills or lessons on systems. Thank you very much for mentioning those. They're very important, definitely. And depending on that, the other things will go to your sub-aims. So for example, if we are delivering a lesson on, let's say, speaking, your main lesson aim will be to help students develop their speaking skills, let's say for fluency, but the sub-skills might be different. And then, of course, you supply them with some useful language. At a certain point, you may teach some functional language, for example, or lexis, or something else. And this will be your sub-aim, clarifying some useful expressions. There might be some other stages, in your lesson related to speaking. So, for example, you'll be giving your students a recording to listen to set a model, Yeah, and exposing them to a model will help them get ideas what the task they will have to participate in is like. Yeah, and the stage aims are the aims of a particular stage. So at a certain point, stage of the lesson, you're working on, for example, functional language. Yeah, so this is the stage aim, to help your students understand useful language. It will always reflect your sub-aims or lesson aims, yeah, main lesson aims. So yeah, there is an overlap in between stage aims and your lesson aims. And as for the personal aim, obviously, it'll be something you want to improve, yeah, to become better at. Maybe you want to focus on time management or presentation techniques, yeah, or something else. Right. Okay. So do you keep in mind all of these aims or only main lesson aims? So type in M if it is only main lesson aims, yeah, or O if or all other you consider as well. Main, yeah, that makes sense. But this is the most important, perhaps. It's just for TKT, you need to be aware of all of the types of aims. Yeah, great. Okay, personal as well. Oh, great, great. Yeah, okay. Yeah, some of you consider all of them. Yeah, very good. Okay. Now, this slide shows some definitions. I want you to have a look, yeah, read them. Probably you need to take a minute or something. Yeah, I'll take a pause, read them all, and decide which terms they are defining. So we can do the first one together as an example. What the teacher wants to achieve in the lesson or in the course. So what do you think this is? Help me, use the chat box. Yeah, this is likely to be the main aim of the lesson, yeah, or just aim. Now, the other definitions are all about different types of aims, objectives, yeah, that we may encounter. So could you please take some time and make your decisions, which is which, okay? So we have already mentioned most of the terms. Okay, I think Antonina is revealing the answer to number 2. This is the main lesson aim. You're absolutely right. Good. Okay, let's consider 3. Stage aims. Good. How about number 4? Who can give me the answer? Alexandra, well done. It is a sub-aim. Right. How about number 5? Do you know that? Personal, right? Okay. Number 6. Have a look at number 6. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can figure out here. Okay, number 6 is tricky. No, it's not the main. It is something else, which is also in the glossary. You need to know this term. Stage aims. Okay, yeah. No, it's not. No, it's not. It starts with O. Good. Exactly, Alexandra. Objectives. Yeah. Okay. And then there will be number 7, which is slightly different, but to be honest, there is an overlap in between the terms. So number 7, what do you think it might be? It also starts with O. Oh, lovely, lovely. Yes. Thank you for the answers. Yeah. Thank you for sharing and helping each other work out the terminology. So those are quite interesting terms, and all of these terms might appear in TKT Module 2. So you need to be well aware of the differences between them. Now, yeah, let me show you a couple of examples what aims are likely to be. Yeah. So if you want to identify and set up the aims for your lesson, so you can start by saying to help or to raise awareness, yeah, or to develop students some kind of skills, yeah. And you can mention different types of skills. Here I'm using reading as an example, but it can be listening or speaking or something else, yeah, you know the skills. Yeah, and also you need to mention the sub-skill you're focusing on, yeah, otherwise the lesson aim won't be complete. If there is a lesson on systems, yeah, you have to mention the area you are teaching, for example, the name of the tense, yeah, or I don't know, if it is about vocabulary, then the topic of vocabulary items, yeah, what they have in common, like adjectives, for example, like non-gradable adjectives, for example, that might be your aim. And then quite often, I don't know, at CELTA level, we require this for sure, to mention the context, yeah, of your lesson, so that we can see the connection of the items you want them to practice to the presentation, yeah, and other stages of their lesson. So yeah, to contextualize the topic, yeah, this is very important. It might be a separate aim, or it can be a kind of one big aim for the whole lesson. The stage aims will be similar to sub-aims, yeah, something like to give a model, to provide practice, yeah, to focus on developing reading, and so on and so forth, depending on the main aim, the sub-aims, yeah. They look similar, yeah, but the priorities are different, of course. As for the outcome, yeah, or objectives that you can set for your lessons, it's likely to be with this kind of beginning. By the end of the lesson, the students will have achieved a better understanding of this and that, or they will be better able to do this and that, right? And with your personal aims, I don't know what is the area of your interest. It might be different, of course, but I'm giving you a couple of common examples. Yeah, some typical areas our CELTA trainees are struggling with. Yeah, reducing teacher talking time and giving clear instructions is something which is a very necessary skill to develop. So they often prioritize that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, type in pluses if all of the terms make sense and the examples again are clear. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Good, good, good. Okay, now we'll be doing a short task, yeah, which is you tell me what type of task it is. Remember, in TKT, we have either multiple choice or matching or odd one out. Now have a look at this task and tell me what the type of the task. So can you see the type of task here? Yes, it is matching. Well done. So let's match the examples to the types of aims. Yeah, can you see the letters? Let me use the pointer here. Here are the letters A, B, C, and D, and the numbers are here. So let's use the same letters and the same numbers to be consistent, to help each other. Mm-hmm. Good, good, good. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay, great. That's interesting that you're using different strategies. Some people go in order, yeah, taking one, then two, and so on. Some people prefer answering the questions that they find easier, perhaps, yeah, and then going back to other questions. Yeah, a process of elimination is a very good strategy, actually. So perhaps it's a very good time saver for those who are going to take the test. Thank you for sharing your ideas. Now I'm highlighting the answers. Hopefully we are all on the same page, aren't we? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So the answers are here on the slide. Have a look. And if there is a question, I'll be happy to clarify. Yeah, one of the areas here. Okay, great. Okay, I have a couple of other tasks. First, when you look at the slide, what you need to do you do the task or you identify the task type? Well, you do identify the task type. And thank you, Valeria. Yes, it is my birthday today. Thank you. Okay, so what's the task type? Okay, thank you. Wow, I didn't want to mention that because of that. Yeah, sorry. Now we are distracted. Yeah, wow, thank you very much. Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah, that's really nice of you. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to the task. Yeah, because I want to help you become better aware what TKT is like. Yeah, we are distracted. Absolutely right. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So the task type. Hello, anyone can hear me? No, not the answers yet. The task type first, and then the answers. Odd one out. Interesting. It's likely to be matching, right? Yeah, okay. And I can see you have started highlighting the answers. Very good. Those of you who actively congratulated me, but forgot to read the situations, the activities, yeah. Take a moment, please, read it first, and we'll move on. That's been amazing. Yeah, thank you. You made my day. Thank you. Okay, so I can see that you do know the answers already. I am confirming them. Awesome. Okay, so we know different aims, yeah, and we can identify stage aims in this case, yeah, that are highlighted. Now, a similar task, another matching, yeah, you have 10 seconds to read and then reveal the answers. Okay, well done. Yes, yeah, you're totally right, of course. You see, I am showing you different extracts from different tasks, from sample papers. Some of them come from the workbook, from the handbook. Some of them come from sample papers. Sometimes I create my own tasks, but yeah, usually we use, reliable sources so that you can really be exposed to real tasks, yeah. And the tasks are usually a bit longer. Yeah, there might be 6, 8 questions in each part, in each section. But here, for the sake of the training, I'm just showing you all the variety. Good, you're really good at that. I think actually, yeah, your exam is already on the cards. You're all ready to register and take the test, right? Okay, let's move on. So, let's talk about some other terms. We've mentioned assumptions earlier. Yeah, class profile. Have we talked about class profile or not? I don't remember. Okay, do you know the definitions of all of these terms? Type in minuses if you want to know. Good. Good. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm challenging you a little bit, but all of the terms that I'm highlighting for you today come from the glossary, which means you need to know them. Yeah, it's safer to know all of them before you take the test. So the assumptions is the information you know about your learners and you use it, yeah, to plan your lessons. Class profile is a description of your class, right? Differentiation, can anyone help me and define it? Because I've forgotten, it slipped my mind. Nobody knows? That's a shame. How come? How are we going to continue without knowing what differentiation is like? Let's think about the word differentiation. It consists of several parts, right? Aha, levels. Good. It might be about levels, but not only. Yeah. So, yeah, students may come from different backgrounds, which means they may have different, yeah, exactly, different strengths and weaknesses. So it's not only about linguistic skills. Yeah. It might be, yeah, differences in age. Perfect. Now, yeah, those of you who mentioned mixed ability, yeah, that's what I wanted to see, obviously. Okay. Thank you for helping me brush up on the terms. Now I'm showing you all of the definitions, and I'll give you just a couple of seconds to look at them and type in pluses when it makes sense and you understand all of them. Okay, some of you are fast readers. For some of you, it might take longer to read the whole thing, but we need to continue because I'm likely to be overrunning and I don't want that. So, yeah, so what we've got on the next slide is an example of a class profile. Have a look. It's another quite long read, but it gives you an idea how you can describe your students. Yeah, you can look at each student separately, creating a learner profile, or you can put it together as a kind of summary, highlighting the most important peculiarities of your group. And something like this will be a must if you do Delta Module 2, because there will be this requirement to describe your group for each lesson, actually. But if we are talking about CELTA level courses, yeah, perhaps it can help you. In our teacher training center, we are not using a template with the class profile, but obviously you keep in mind your group of students, and there is an assignment you have to complete, to do some research, collect information about your learners, and then you can use this information throughout the course. Anyway, it's a very useful thing to do, to be honest. Yeah, and I started actually, yeah, because I had to change my teaching habits, and yeah, exactly, that's it. Focus on the learners. Yeah. So I started giving a lot of private lessons this year due to the changes in the world. And at a certain point, I realized that I can't keep the track of what is happening with that student, that group, and so on. Yeah, so I decided to create class profiles. So I think it's worth doing. Okay, have a look at some anticipated problems that some teachers often anticipate. Such a play on words, yeah? So those are likely problems. Let's try to find solutions for each of them. So if the topic is not appealing, yeah, what can you do? And there is a whole module on the topic, for example, environment. Yeah, Larissa, you are totally right, of course. I should have given you more time. I'm a bit rushing. Yeah, that's a habit of mine. Yeah, yeah. And that's why, you know, for online classes, perhaps I need to underplan a little bit. Yeah, taking huger, bigger gaps in between the stages. Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But you will receive my presentation and you will have more time to read everything. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can personalize the topic. Maria, thank you. That's a very good idea. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So that's something that we perhaps can do by running a lead-in, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I used to do that with my teenagers, negotiating like which topics to explore in detail, delving into them. Yeah. And which of them we can either skip. Yeah. Or if it's not possible, yeah, perhaps just shorten them somehow. Yeah. Or changing them slightly to make them more appealing. Yeah. If it is possible, that's great. Okay, let's have a look at the second one. Two of the students are much stronger, and yeah, I don't know if you have an issue of dominant students or those who can get easily bored. Extra tasks, okay. There is a danger if they're given extra tasks that they might be even more bored. Mm-hmm. Good, group them, yeah, yeah, great. Mm-hmm. So grouping, yeah, using different interaction patterns can help you save time and still work on their motivation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, number 3, yeah, a backup plan, well done. Mm-hmm. Very good. Yeah, yeah, they can mentor, exactly. So we can promote peer teaching and collaboration. How about number 4? Yeah, good. Obviously, we can shorten tasks. How can we shorten a task which is like speaking, a role play or something like this? How can you do that? Okay, homework. Yeah, speak at home. That's a good idea. I like that. Yeah. Okay. Cut it somehow. Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, that depends on the task type. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just pulling your leg. Of course, you're right. Great ideas. Thank you very much. Now, if the feedback is unclear, we can involve other students, yeah, to clarify some of the things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay, let me just show some of the ideas. You've mentioned personalizing the topic, and that's what we usually do. We give different lead-ins. Yeah. Then we can mix our stronger and weaker students for certain tasks to, again, to promote peer teaching, for example. We need a backup plan for sure, especially if we talk about using technology. Some of the stages can be skipped, right? And that's how you will have sufficient time for the most important thing. Like if it's speaking, perhaps it's not a good idea to shorten that particular activity, right? So you'll be getting rid of some of the sub-aims, sub-stages, like, I don't know, giving a huge input on vocabulary. Yeah, you can shorten that. And feedback, yeah, so probably feedback is the most important thing at the end of the lesson. And again, it's well recommended to leave plenty of time on that. I wouldn't skip that. But yes, it can be, with the help of other students, it can be done like that. Okay, yeah, great ideas. Great ideas. Now, here on this slide, you can see an extract from a lesson plan that I once had to teach. It was quite a few years ago. To be honest, I'm not using English file at the moment, but you can see it is based on this book. Yeah, if you know that, probably you recognize the page about pessimists. Yeah, I think the topic was conditionals. Am I right? Let me just try to remember what is there. Opposite verbs. Yeah. Feedback. Yeah, predictions will. Yeah. Predictions, of course. Yeah. Okay, it slipped my mind again. So here you can see that I've identified the main aims. Yeah, to focus on systems, will for predictions. Then the sub-aims is along, actually I should have mentioned reading because there is an element of reading there as far as I remember. Yeah, but you can also focus on verbs that are used in that lesson, clarifying the meaning of the opposite verbs. And there are nice sets there. In English file, actually, the vocabulary section is quite nice for low-level students. Well, it's also good for advanced students, yeah. Recently, I've just used a lesson on sounds, different sounds for my proficiency students. And, you know, there is a nice page on human sounds and other types of sounds you might hear in different situations in English File Advanced. Okay, as for the personal aims, I usually struggle with timing, seriously. I hardly ever finish on time. So I decided to focus on that. So it's still the same, actually. I'm still struggling. Yeah, so this is the information, the basic information about the class profile. It can be a bit longer or it can be quite short like this, depending what you need to highlight, yeah, depending what you need to keep in mind. Like it is happening in the evening, perhaps you need to focus on a variety of tasks using different attractive visual aids and motivate your students by setting up a variety of activities, yeah. The assumptions, yeah, students may know some verbs, yeah, and this is really good. They can also help each other because their background knowledge is different. Yes, Nadezhda, I used to like English File a lot, but then I started using English File for my CELTA courses, and I realized how many drawbacks it's got. So, yeah. So it's good, actually. It is good. Okay, syllabus fit. Yeah, so you can see that future forms is not a new topic. It's not completely new. So it's just the shift is towards making predictions. I like outcomes, but there is a huge lexical thing embedded there, and sometimes they neglect developing skills, which is a shame, I think. I'm also using it for some CELTA courses as a kind of experiment, and I help my trainees improve some of the parts of the book when vocabulary comes out of blue, for example, without any context or without much context. But what I like about outcomes, Valeria, thank you for the question, first of all, is the natural language that is used there. It's up to date, and that's why I think I've just bought a new level because I'm curious. Speak Out is great. I like it. I like it. Yeah, it's very good. And in IH's NIR, for example, they're using it for CELTA courses because it's reliable. So I've used it several times myself. Okay, you can see resources mentioned, yeah, and possible problems. Okay, does this cover sheet make sense? Thank you for the questions about the course books. Oh my. You know what? I don't like following one course book. I never do. So, for example, at the moment, I'm working with IELTS students and CPE students quite a lot. I never follow one course book. I take an extract from one of them. I develop my own materials based on that, keeping in mind my students' needs, strengths, and, well, obviously weaknesses. That's why they're my students. And yeah, and then I've just mentioned there is no such a thing as a perfect course book. There are many different sources. If you ask about developing writing skills, take advantage. If you talk about just everything, yeah, for teachers, yes, we run a training course for teachers, and I work with teachers on a one-to-one basis too. Yeah, so yeah, there are many different sources. I often take sample tests and create my own lessons based on that. So I know what they need to achieve by looking at the test, and I am helping them with that. Okay, so let's continue. So here is the procedure for that lesson. To be honest, it's not complete. It's just give you a flavor what the procedure might be like, yeah? In TKT, procedures may look quite simple, yeah, quite straightforward. So you need a stage aim. You describe what the teacher and students will be doing. That's the procedure. Complete is a very good series, yeah, whatever you take, yeah, complete for FCE or complete for IELTS, yeah, they are good, but they're not perfect. Okay, timing, yeah, and interaction patterns. And for each stage, you'll be doing the same thing, okay. Thank you for your questions. Let's get back to business. We are talking about TKT today, right? So hopefully you understand all the lesson plan components. Now we can do this matching task. You have 30 seconds. So read everything first and then start typing in your answers. Thank you, Valentina. You're absolutely right. Okay, B is 9. Yes, you're right. Well done. I'm not sure about C. Sorry. Yeah, okay, Natalia, well done. C is actually the procedure. Yeah, this is number 1. It might be a bit confusing in the way they presented that in this task. But that's what tests are like, right? So some of the things might look not that straightforward, so you need to contemplate a little bit, at least a little bit, right? And D is number 4. Awesome, well done. Yeah, okay, I'm highlighting the correct answers. You can see them at the bottom of the slide. Good. So this is one of the task types, yeah. Obviously, they might be not just definitions, but examples given. Here you have an element of examples, but not consistently. Now let's talk about interaction patterns. We have already mentioned interaction patterns just as a general term you all understand. Now here I'm showing an extract from Jim Scrivener's book, yeah, with these diagrams, different types of interaction patterns you can use in your lessons if you're working in a physical classroom. But it doesn't matter if you work online. You can also think about how you can run some activities, giving students some time for working on their own individual work, yeah. Then you can send them to breakout rooms. If you're using Zoom, for example, it is easy for pair work or group work. Yeah, they can mingle and they can do something together as a class. Now, do you know how students can mingle on Zoom? Do I need to tell you, to give you a tip how to do that? Or we can ask Dasha, my CELTA trainee, to reveal that secret, what we did. Dasha, would you like to type in what we did? Oh, okay, I'll speak. So you can make all of your students co-hosts. And if they're all co-hosts, you send them to the breakout rooms. They start working in pairs or small groups, but then they can jump from one group to another. And it'll be a kind of mingling. They decide when to move to another group to talk to different partners. Yeah, it's not well organized, but that's what mingling is like. Mingling doesn't have to be well organized. It should be quite spontaneous, yeah? Or you can give them a signal by sending a kind of message in a box. It's time to move to another room. Yeah, and perhaps you can give some instructions how they can change rooms. Like, for example, those who were in group one of you should stay, yeah, and another person will move to group two, and so on. And it will be awesome. Actually, it's a real mingling activity, but done online. Right. So on the left, you can see different task types. It might be a problem, Natalia. I totally agree. Yeah, it is tricky. Mingling is always tricky. Recently, I ran a session for my teachers who are taking certificate in advanced methodology with me. And obviously they're all CELTA qualified and they're preparing for Delta. And they were like crazy talking about some of the things, well, hopefully in English, yeah, but things not related to the session at all. And I had to monitor and remind them of the task several times, yeah. So it happens even with adults, yeah. So it happens to adults as well. Right. So let's look at the activities you can see on the left. And I want you to take one, for example, how can we brainstorm? Which interaction patterns would you recommend using? Like individually, brainstorming individually, or brainstorming in pairs, or it's better to be done in groups, or whole class. Yeah, even with teachers, exactly, yeah. Naughty students. Mm-hmm. In small groups, open class. Yeah. Brainstorming can work better with bigger groups. Yeah. Okay. How about a role play? Which interaction patterns would you choose for a role play? Well, depending on the roles, of course, but let's assume it's like a shop assistant, yeah, and someone who came to buy something. Pairs, definitely. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Let's pick up something from I don't know, from another area, like controlled practice, how it should be done. That might be a little bit tricky. Yes, I think, yeah, you're all right, actually. Exactly, Daria. Yes, first they work individually. Yeah, they come up with some ideas. And even if they haven't finished, there is something to start discussing with their peers. If you send them to the breakout room right away, yeah, without giving them time for thinking, stronger students will dominate and weaker students won't get much from that activity. Yeah, great. Okay, so basically what you do is you consider the type of activity and then you decide what interaction patterns to use, in what order. Yeah, can you reuse the same task? Yeah, will there be an element of repetition or not? And if yes, then probably you can regroup your students somehow, yeah, using onion rings, for example. Yeah, like you can see it here, yeah. When students work in circles and the outer circle will move, yeah, like clockwise, for example, changing partners. And that's how you can drill something or play different types of games. Okay. Plenary is a whole class activity, yeah? Yeah, debates, for example, yeah. Yeah. Right. To simplify your lesson plan and yeah, to improve your skills in note-taking, perhaps you can use some abbreviations, yeah? And in TKT, they've highlighted different abbreviations for interaction patterns. You can see them here. Of course, you may use different abbreviations, yeah, but you need to be able to understand them, right, when you see them in the exam. We can add something else, for example, breakout rooms. How would you abbreviate that? What will be the short form for breakout rooms? I've seen many already. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I usually put BRS, yeah, like breakout rooms, and S because it's usually plural. But yeah, I've seen those too. Yeah, okay. Yeah, whatever your preference is, it's not on TKT yet. It will appear, I'm sure it will. Okay, let's move on. One more sample task. Take like 10 seconds or something, read, and then start sharing your ideas. So we are matching here, yeah, the lesson plan extracts to the components. Yes, 2D, absolutely right. Well done, Susanna. Okay, 4A, I can see. Yes, I agree. Yeah, 1B. Okay, looks that you all know what the answers should be. So I'm highlighting the recommended answers at the bottom of the slide. Yeah. What you need to understand about matching tasks. Yeah. So I think we call it multiple matching, if I'm not mistaken. One of the things, for example, information from a lesson plan, yeah, might be many, like 8 up to 10, yeah, but the box with the lesson plan components will contain only 4, for example, or 3 things, yeah, and you will have to use one and the same answer several times. So here you can see that D is used twice. Yeah. So of course, if the task, if you see a complete task, yeah, it is multiple. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, if it's longer, if you see the whole thing, yeah, you will have to repeat some of the other answers perhaps, so maybe use D a couple of other times. Okay, this is important to keep in mind. Okay. Let's talk about assessment. This is a very interesting area that is not covered in courses like CELTA, for example, properly. And towards Delta level, many candidates experience difficulties understanding terminology related to assessment. But what is good about TKT is that it is quite basic. It gives very important information about different aspects, including assessment. Yeah, and assessment is covered in TKT. But they mainly focus on task types. Different types of activities that we can use for formal assessment, yeah, and some of the activities that we use informally assessing our students. Okay, I'm not talking about formative and summative here, just because it's Delta terminology. Summative is something that we do at the end of the course, at the end of the module, yeah, it's a kind of summary of your students' achievement. And formative is something that you do on an ongoing basis, yeah, on a regular basis. Right, so formal and informal. So if your students know what, that they are being assessed, yeah, that they are going to take a test, what is happening at the moment, yeah, we can call it a short test or an exam, yeah, and it is, of course, formal assessment. Yeah, we do have formative and summative. Oh, I must have forgotten, I'm sorry, but it's good I've clarified them. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I haven't delivered TKT courses for a while now, so I'm focusing on more advanced courses, and yeah, it slipped my mind, I'm sorry. Anyway, as for the informal assessment, we use different types of activities, of course, and we don't call them tests. They are just classroom activities, right? But you monitor, you observe, you see what the students are doing, and you're collecting information about their abilities, their strengths, their achievements, and so on and so forth. So you monitor, collect information, and then you can give them appropriate feedback, hopefully. That's what it's about, yeah? to collect information and give feedback. So what activities are you using for assessing your learners? So different task types that we can use to assess them. Okay, give me a couple of ideas in the chat box and I'll reveal the list that I've prepared. Yes, different type of comprehensive or comprehension questions. Yeah, very good. Yeah, okay, tests. Yeah, like what task types in your tests? Yeah, are there multiple choice type of tasks? Gap fills? What type of tests? Essays? Good. Yeah, quizzes? Great. Tests. Test is a vague term. Yeah. Multiple choice. Yeah. Progress. Placement. Different type of tasks. Yeah, thank you very much. I can see you are listing a few. Yeah, odd one out. Yeah. Yeah, so here you can see a list of different activities that we can use, we can consider using for assessing our learners. And obviously, this is not a complete list of activities. You can add something else, yeah, but those are the most frequent activities that are highlighted in different sample papers, yeah, in TKT. Yes, and games also there. You can see language games of different kinds, yeah. Very good, okay. So let's have a look at a sample task and see what they might be asking you. So the task type is again matching. So we have a lot of matching tasks today. Have a look and match. Okay. One is A, very good, very good. Irina, Natalia. Oh, Natalia, you're really fast. Both of the answers already, yeah? Good, good. Okay, yeah, you are totally right. Now, the focus of this task is to identify the reasons why we assess our students, yeah? And some of the reasons are given. You know, you can sort of understand, yeah, some principles of assessment by doing sample tests, yeah? And that's another benefit of taking TKT. You can become better at certain things and your understanding will be greater. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about different resources we use for our lessons. The most obvious one is a course book. So do you follow a course book or you prefer creating materials, your own self-designed materials, using authentic texts and you use some online tools instead of following course books? Course books, both, yeah. I think, yeah, we need a combination of things. Yeah, yeah, and very good, yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Why do you think teachers prefer following course books? Yeah, there are certain benefits, of course, and there are many. It will help save us time. Yeah, it will add some kind of consistency. Yeah, usually it's well structured. The students can refer, exactly. The students can refer to different parts to revise things, yeah, to reread, to understand something better, maybe to do something extra, yeah, and yeah, there is a kind of plan, yeah, in your head, you know that you're following the syllabus, yeah, exactly, yeah. So here is an extract from a course book. It's actually supplementary material, I'm sorry, it's not a course book, yeah, but still it is an extract from a resource for an elementary level. And on the left, Yeah, I totally agree, actually, Ludmila. I think, yeah, course book writers are smart people and they know a lot about the language, yeah, and language teaching. You're right. Okay, so we have 3 questions. What is the question type? Multiple choice. Yeah, very good, very good. But some of you are mentioning odd one out. Alexandra, you're really smart. You can see there is not highlighted, and that's why I included the rubric, yeah, to show you that. Yeah, so you need to mark the idea which is not appropriate. Yeah, this is very important. Okay, have a look at the task. Can you figure out the answers? So let me just clarify what the task is like, because the slide might be too small. Yeah, it comes from communication games. Yeah, and it's a kind of role play. You want to plan a day out, and your students will have to talk about different places they can visit, something like this. So it's speaking. Yeah, 1C is correct. Very good. 2B, awesome. Yes, I can see all the correct answers. I'm confirming them. Yeah, well done, all of you. So that's the kind of thing you need to do. It is similar to evaluation of materials. Yeah, it shows your understanding of the principles of the material design and different types of activities. Okay, so there are a couple of important areas I want to highlight, yeah, relevant for Module 2. One of them is different teaching aids. Remember, in the previous session, you asked me a question, what teaching aids are. So they might be different teaching aids, yeah. A whiteboard is something that we used in the past. I don't know if you are back at schools now, so probably you can use boards. Including cork boards, yeah, flip charts, yeah. Are you using an overhead projector, or it used to look like this in the past? Yeah, different types of posters, like remember the phonemic chart I showed you? You can put it up for your students for their reference, and then you can use it from time to time. Different types of self-made posters to prompt your students. Different games, yeah, and I'm showing you a couple of online tools. I mentioned Macmillan irregular verb wheel that is available on their website. You can use it for your low-level students, perhaps, to revise irregular verbs. Roll die, yeah, so online dice, if you want to use it. Different activities with flashcards and songs from Super Simple Learning. Yeah, of course, again, the list of resources and teaching aids is endless. So I'm just mentioning some of them. So could you type in your ideas in the chat box? What other tools you can use? Cards, yes, flashcards, for example. Yes, definitely. Quizlet, I think. Kahoot, yes. TV, maybe, yeah. Natalia, it's macmillandictionary.com. You can find their irregular verb wheel there. Word wall, yeah. Okay, different things. Yes, let's move on. So here is a sample test if you want to have a look at the learning aids highlighted. Some of them are out of date. Some of them we are still using. I think most of them we're still using. Instagram, interesting. How are you using Instagram for your teaching? Okay, describing pictures, yeah, from their social media websites. Yeah, that's what you mean. Okay. Right, thank you. For those of you who are looking at the task, I can see that you worked out the answers. We have a couple of other sections to cover, so I'm going to be really fast here. Here are the correct answers, yeah? I think they are the same. Good job, good job. So here you can see different reference resources that teachers might use. And colleagues, for example, yeah, is a nice example of a useful resource. And we have 3 situations. It's another matching task if you want. So which resource do you think these teachers need? A monolingual dictionary, maybe. Colleagues, absolutely right, why not? Yes, some supplementary materials, yeah, but there are many. Could you choose 1 or 2? I like the idea of using dictionaries. You can use the internet to find out, yeah, methodology books. Absolutely right, yeah. Like Smith and Swan, Learner English, for example. Yeah, definitely. Good. Okay. And how about number 3? Any ideas what we can use? Yeah. Methodology books for teachers that perhaps I've mentioned earlier, yeah, might work. Okay. I have some ideas here. I'm highlighting some of the ideas, and if you have different ideas, that's okay, because it's not an exam task. Yeah, it just gives you just a taste of what you might be asked to consider, right? Yeah, exactly. Let's also look at the dictionary extract. They often give things like that, like reference materials for teachers and for students. So you need to understand what the extract means, yeah? So here we have at, for example. Is it a part of speech, definition, register, or dependent preposition? Yeah, good. Right. Okay. Great. Okay. So yeah, I'm revealing the answers. You can see that N stands for noun. It's a part of speech, obviously. Yeah. At is a dependent preposition, and 3 is a definition, obviously. Yeah. There might be something else you might be asked about. Yeah. What else? There is an example given. Yeah. We can see if the verb is transitive or intransitive, or the noun is countable or uncountable. Yeah, phonology is highlighted, yeah, and so on and so forth. Maybe some collocations might be highlighted. What else they might be? It's a question for you. Help me. There might be something else they use in dictionaries, and it's really good if you're using English dictionaries with your students. It's a very good habit of doing research. It helps them develop learner autonomy. Yeah, examples, first of all. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sometimes there are synonyms or antonyms. Exactly. Very good. Okay. Now, what are the other examples of supplementary materials we can use? Have a look. Websites you've mentioned, different films, books, authentic sources. Yeah. Graded readers, I don't know if you like using graded readers. I do. especially if they are relevant for my students. Like, for example, if you prepare your students for a first certificate, there is a set book you can use. And once with my teenagers, we had to read, something fascinating, The Eagle of the Ninth, a very good story. But you know, if you read the original, it's just impossible because the language looks so weird. So it will be hard even for proficient users, I'd say. But for those of B2 level, of course, the graded book was very appealing. They were engrossed and motivated to discuss the next chapter every following lesson. So I was very happy about that. And I've learned about that story myself by preparing them for FCE. Okay, board games, and you've mentioned some other games, I think, in the chat box. Okay, so reasons for using supplementary materials. First of all, we want to add variety. What else? What might be the other reasons for using supplementary materials? Here they are. Perhaps we need to introduce something fun. We want to use authentic materials, and that's why we are showing them a video from TED Talks, for example, or something else. They need more practice in a particular area or focus on some other aspects of vocabulary, for example. Exactly, Valentina. And Tatiana, you're right. Good. So I have a couple of tasks, but I'm going to skip through the slides. And here is something that can help you. You can do the task later and the answers are embedded. The criteria for evaluating course books. Those of you who are experienced teachers and you're considering different ways of adapting materials for your learners. You can have a look if there is appropriate level of challenge. If the instructions are clear, or maybe you will have to clarify this or that task. If the topics are interesting, that's what we usually focus on a lot. When we choose books, if we are allowed. If there is a good variety of tasks, but that's usually that's something that we see while using the course book already. Without that, you can't understand if there is lack of something, like outcomes, for example. I started using it first, and then I realized that the emphasis on skills is not good enough. Skills development. If there is an input on study skills and you can help your students become better learners. What kind of book you want me to type in? I don't know. I've mentioned quite a few. Yelena, could you clarify what you want me to write? Graded readers. Several years ago, there was a set book for FCE, for Cambridge First. The book is no longer there for FCE. It's not recommended because every couple of years they change the set books. But the book that we read was this, The Eagle of the Ninth. I'm not sure if I spelled it accurately. Here it is. It is a book by a famous British writer. I don't remember her name, unfortunately. And there was a film made. So it's that's probably why my teenagers were motivated to read that book, and find out more about that story. It is about the Roman Empire, about exploring Britain and so on. That's very interesting. Here we've got some reference books that I can recommend for teachers. Those of you who are beyond TKT or CELTA level may find it particularly useful. I'll be happy to answer the questions now. So let's have a look at the chat box. Is it a serious mistake of a teacher if he doesn't have time for all planned activities at a lesson? You know what, Maria, I think that if you have enough time for the most important task, then it's good already. If you're overplanned a little bit, or you have different options to do this or that, depending on your students' needs and how the lesson goes, probably you understand it's not a mistake at all. You're just choosing the most relevant activities, right? Yeah, the recording to the webinar from yesterday's will be available later, or maybe it is already available. I don't know, Yulia will tell you, but it will be available, and I think it will be on YouTube. Is it reasonable to take TKT if you already have CELTA? I've had several trainees who took TKT after CELTA, confirming their awareness of different principles, because it's a different story. And those of you who want to specialize and become better aware of teaching young learners or CLIL methodology, perhaps you can consider specialism models. Can a teacher take TKT several times? Yes, of course. Why not? Of course, yeah, you can retake it. Certificates, yeah, will be available, yeah. Yeah, okay. Have I answered all the questions? I think I have. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for being fantastic. I really enjoyed this session today. You know, yesterday I was sleep deprived and somehow it wasn't fun. But today, yeah, it gave me a real buzz, and yeah, you were awesome. Thank you for being with me. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, perhaps.